The courtroom is quiet. Everyone is waiting for the next case to begin. The judge sits at the front, looking over his papers. His face is serious, as usual. He's seen many cases in his career, some simple, some complicated. But today, something feels different. The woman stands in the middle of the courtroom. She's alone. Her clothes are worn, the fabric thin and faded. She looks out of place in this setting, like she doesn't belong here. Her hair is tangled, and her hands are shaking as she holds onto a piece of paper. She's clearly nervous. It's her turn to speak, but she hesitates. The judge looks at her, noticing her discomfort. Her eyes avoid the crowd, focusing on the ground instead. She's trying to find the right words, but they don't come easily. The judge clears his throat and motions for her to begin. The room falls silent. All eyes are on her now. She takes a deep breath and starts speaking, her voice soft, almost a whisper. "I don't have much," she says. "I'm not asking for money. I need help." Her words hang in the air. The judge watches closely, sensing the fear behind her voice. She's clearly in distress. Something about her story catches his attention. The judge leans forward, listening carefully. The woman's voice trembles as she continues, trying to explain her situation. "I've lost my job," she says, her voice breaking. "I've been trying to find work for months, but nothing. I can't even afford to feed my children properly." Her eyes begin to fill with tears, but she wipes them away quickly. She's trying to stay strong, but it's clear that the weight of her struggles is taking a toll on her. "I'm doing everything I can," she adds, looking up briefly, her gaze meeting the judge's. "I've sold what little I have left, but it's still not enough. I can't keep up anymore." The judge remains silent, his eyes focused on her. The courtroom is still, everyone waiting for her to continue. The woman shifts nervously, glancing at the crowd, but then her gaze returns to the judge. She's shaking, but she pushes through. "I'm not asking for charity," she says with a hint of frustration. "I just need a chance to get back on my feet. That's all I want." Her voice falters again as she speaks about her children, how hard it's been to explain to them why they have so little. "They don't understand. All they know is that we don't have enough to eat, and I can't even give them the basics." The judge's expression softens as he listens. It's not just the words she's saying, it's the pain behind them. She's not asking for a handout. She's just trying to survive. "I just need help," she repeats, this time barely above a whisper. The judge looks at her, his face full of empathy. He can see the years of hardship in her eyes, the exhaustion, the desperation, but he also sees something else, a strength. Despite all her struggles, she's still standing, still trying. The room is completely still. No one moves, no one speaks. The only sound is the faint rustling of paper as the judge shifts his notes. The woman's words hang in the air. She's done speaking now, but the silence feels heavy, almost suffocating. The weight of her struggles seems to fill the entire courtroom. It's a moment that everyone feels. The judge remains quiet, staring at her. His gaze is thoughtful, not just listening, but understanding. The woman shifts uncomfortably under the attention, her hands tightly gripping the paper she was holding. Her head is lowered, eyes focused on the floor, but her heart is pounding. A few people in the gallery exchange glances, their faces reflecting what everyone is thinking. Some look at the woman with sympathy. Others look at the judge, waiting for him to speak, hoping that he'll find a way to help her. But the judge doesn't say anything right away. He's still thinking, taking in everything the woman just said. The woman looks up briefly, her eyes scanning the courtroom. She can feel the stares of the people around her. Some of them look away quickly, not knowing what to do with the sadness in her eyes. Others keep watching her, their faces softening. She can feel the tears coming again, but she forces them back. She's not sure what she's hoping for anymore. Maybe just some kind of relief. Finally, the judge clears his throat. The sound breaks the silence like a sharp breath after holding it too long. He looks at the woman, his eyes kind yet serious. But before he says anything, the woman's voice cracks. "I'm sorry," she whispers, her chin trembling. "I didn't mean to make a scene." The judge shakes his head gently, his expression softening further. "You haven't made a scene," he says, his voice calm, though it carries weight. "You've shared something very important, something many of us overlook." The room holds its breath, waiting for what will come next. The tension is palpable. but no one is prepared for what the judge will do next. The judge pauses, his hands resting on the desk in front of him. His fingers tap gently on the wood, thinking. The courtroom remains quiet, all eyes fixed on him, waiting. After a long moment, he stands up slowly. Everyone watches as he steps away from his bench. The judge's face is calm, but there's a kindness in his eyes that wasn't there before. He looks directly at the woman, who stands frozen in place. I've heard many cases in my time, he begins, his voice steady but filled with a quiet authority. But this one is different. Your situation, your struggle, it's something that goes beyond what we typically see in this courtroom. The woman looks up at him, hope flickering in her eyes, but she's still unsure. She doesn't know if she's about to hear something that will help her, or if she simply wasted everyone's time. The judge's voice softens. I've seen people come and go, some asking for money, others for help in ways I can't give, but what you're asking for is something I believe can be done, and I'm going to make sure it happens. He steps toward her, his tone firm but filled with compassion. I'm not going to just dismiss you like I might with a case that doesn't touch me. No, this time, I'm going to make sure you get the help you need. The woman looks at him, trying to process his words. What do you mean? She asks quietly, almost afraid to ask, afraid of getting her hopes up. The judge meets her eyes, his gaze unwavering. I'm not going to offer you money. I'm not going to offer something temporary that may help in the short term, but won't fix the problem. What I'm going to do is connect you with the people who can help you rebuild. Real help, long-term solutions. The woman's eyes widen. What kind of help? He continues. I will personally ensure that you get the resources you need to start over. There are programs, job opportunities, and legal aid that you haven't had access to yet. But now, you will. The woman stands frozen, unable to believe what she's hearing. The judge's words are like a lifeline she never thought she'd reach. She can't speak, only nods slowly, as if trying to process it all. I'm not going to make promises I can't keep, the judge adds, his voice firm. But I will make sure you get the chance to get back on your feet, and I will be there to support you every step of the way. The courtroom is still. No one dares to make a sound. The woman stands there, her face a mix of disbelief and gratitude. I thank you. She manages to whisper, her voice breaking as she looks down. Her hands tremble and tears start to fall, but this time, they're tears of relief. The judge nods, and with a quiet glance at the rest of the courtroom, he returns to his seat, his eyes never leaving the woman. The room is silent. No one moves. The woman stands there, still in shock, as tears quietly stream down her face. The courtroom feels different now, as if the air has shifted. The weight of the moment is felt by everyone in the room. Some of the people sitting in the gallery are wiping their eyes, trying to hide the emotion that's taken over them. It's a rare thing to witness such an act of kindness, especially in a place like this. For a moment, the courtroom isn't just a place of law and order. It feels like a place of real humanity. The judge sits at his bench, his eyes never leaving the woman. He's calm, but there's something in his gaze that shows how much he truly cares. His decision wasn't just about giving the woman resources or legal aid, it was about offering her hope. And in that moment, it's clear to everyone that he's done more than simply follow the law. He's done what he believes is right. The woman slowly wipes her tears away, but more keep coming. She's overcome. Her emotions too strong to hold back. She looks up at the judge, unable to say anything more. The courtroom is still, but it's not uncomfortable. It's as if everyone is holding their breath, waiting for the next word, but also knowing there's nothing more to say. The woman's pain has been heard, and for once, it's been met with the compassion and action she never expected. Some of the people in the gallery glance at each other, shaking their heads in disbelief. They've never seen anything like this before. It's rare for anyone in this place to show such raw emotion, especially someone with as much power as the judge. But in this moment, the judge is more than just a figure of authority. He's someone who has truly made a difference in another person's life. And the woman, though still overwhelmed, feels a shift within herself. Her body shakes, but this time, it's not from fear or desperation. It's from the weight lifting off her shoulders. She can't find the words to thank him, but her expression says it all. The judge doesn't need thanks. He knows what he's done. The look in his eyes is enough. He understands that sometimes the most important thing you can do is offer someone a chance when they've run out of hope. And as the woman takes a deep, steadying breath, the courtroom, despite its formal setting, feels like a place where true justice is finally being served, not just through the law, but through the kindness of one man who chose to do what was right. Time passes. Days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into months. The woman's life begins to change in ways she never thought possible. She starts looking for jobs with a renewed sense of hope. The connections the judge provided open new doors. At first, it's difficult, but each day brings a small victory. A phone call about a potential job, an interview. Slowly, things begin to fall into place. The woman finds a position at a local store. It's not much, but it's a start. The pay isn't great, but it's enough to cover her bills. She's no longer struggling just to get by. She's slowly rebuilding her life. Her children start to see a difference too. They notice the change in their mother. Her confidence is growing. She's no longer stressed out all the time. There's a warmth in her voice, a calmness that wasn't there before. She's able to provide for them without the constant worry that used to hang over her every day. The judge's words ring in her ears every time she faces a challenge. You'll get the help you need. You'll find your way. And she believes them now. She believes in herself more than she ever has before. With her newfound stability, she starts helping others in her community. She volunteers at local shelters, offering support to people who are going through the same struggles she faced. She knows what it's like to feel hopeless, to feel like you're stuck with no way out. And now she's able to offer others the help she once needed. Her life isn't perfect, but it's better. It's a life she can be proud of. And she's deeply grateful to the judge who gave her a second chance. Her children now see their mother not just as someone who struggled, but as someone who overcame. They know that no matter what life throws at them, they can keep going. They can make it through. And every day, she wakes up with a sense of purpose, a belief that things can always get better, no matter how hard things seem.